Let us now start creating a web page from an empty file, right? So look at what we have here. We've provided you with a very basic skeleton of an HTML file. The first line strictly is not an HTML element. All that we're doing here is defining the version of HTML being used to create this particular web page. On line 2, you see the start tag of an HTML document. So look at how we've used angle brackets and mentioned the word HTML between them. On line 7, we actually end the HTML element by using the /. Everything that is contained in an HTML file should be present between the start HTML tag as you see on line 2 and the end HTML tag as you see on line 7. This particular skeleton also consists of two more elements. So note the head element that begins on line 3, ends on line 4, and the body element that begins on line 5 and ends on line 6. We shall learn about these elements as we go along. Now if you hit preview, you will see an empty web page because all this HTML file contains is just the definition of the basic HTML elements with the start and end tags. Now let's start adding some elements to this HTML file. Let's first focus on the body section, right? So essentially we're going to add some stuff between the start and end body tags. Let's start by entering a major heading element. So just follow what I'm doing. I specify the start tag, then I write some text, and then I end the major heading tag. I follow this up by starting a paragraph tag. Then let me add some content. So just to increase the amount of content, what I'll do is I'll just copy paste and then end the paragraph tag. Alright, so let's save this file and hit preview. So there you go. You see the major heading element has displayed the text you had written between the h1 start and end tags in big bold fonts, and that is followed by the content given in the paragraph element, right? Also note an interesting thing. Although while pasting the content in the paragraph tag, I inserted certain new line characters, right? But on the web page, we do not see any of those new line characters reflected. Remember, in HTML, a new line character has no special meaning, and we're going to see how we can insert specific new line characters for purposes of a web page. So let's just move on to the next step. So exactly what I was talking about, right? So far we've looked at the major heading tag by using the h1 element. We've looked at the paragraph tag where we use the p element. Now what if I want to insert a new line or a line break between the heading and the paragraph? So just see what I'm doing. So what is interesting about this particular element is that there is no distinct start and end tags, right? Moreover, there is no content that is associated with this particular tag. So what is this going to do? So let's just save this, hit preview once again. There you go. As you can see, the spacing between the heading and paragraph is increased. And why has that happened? Because you've essentially entered a line break element, right? So far so good. Whatever we've done so far has been entered in the body element of our HTML file. Now let's take a sneak peek at what the head element can do for us. The head element essentially supports three types of data, right? The first one deals with metadata. So let's give you an example of metadata. What I will do is I will enter a title for my page. Whenever you visit a web page, you will note that there is some text that is displayed on top of your browser window, right? That is the title of the page, and that is specified in the head section by using the title element, right? The other thing we shall do is we shall include an external CSS file as instructed here. Don't worry if you do not yet know what CSS is, because we're going to learn about CSS pretty soon. For now, what we'll do is we shall just include an external file in our HTML page. So just save this, hit preview. So there you go. So do you observe a difference? So the page now has a different background color, and the heading also has a different font color. So why is that happening? So let's just take a sneak peek at the CSS file. So here is the body element of your HTML, and what you've done is, as you can see here, you have defined a background color, right, which is light gray. Regarding the major heading, what you've done here is you defined a different color for the text contained in the major heading element. So far so good. Finally, just play around with this HTML file, try out various things that you have learned so far. You can also visit this link for a comprehensive list of HTML elements, right? At this point, I would encourage you to pay special attention to these elements, right? The ones that are specified here. Just read about these elements on this link and experiment with those.